An unexpected turn, Trump, Zelenskyy, and a meeting gone wrong. The world watched in astonishment as a routine diplomatic meeting between President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy descended into chaos. What was supposed to be a straightforward discussion on mutual interest and cooperation quickly spiraled out of control. What was meant to be a display of unity and strategic partnership quickly devolved into a public spectacle of accusations, denials, and diplomatic fallout. The tension in the room was palpable, and it became clear that the two leaders were not on the same page. The events of that day sent shockwaves through the international community, raising serious questions about the future of US-Ukraine relations and the stability of the global order. Analysts and political commentators around the world began to speculate on the long-term implications of this diplomatic disaster. The meeting, held at the White House on a crisp autumn afternoon, was intended to reaffirm the strong bond between the two nations. The picturesque setting belied the storm that was brewing inside. Both leaders had expressed their commitment to strengthening ties and exploring new avenues of cooperation. They had spoken of shared goals and mutual respect, painting a picture of a promising future. However, the atmosphere inside the Oval Office was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the carefully crafted public statements issued beforehand. The smiles and handshakes for the cameras masked a deeper discord. The meeting marked a turning point in the relationship between the two leaders. It was a moment that would be dissected and analyzed for months to come, as experts tried to understand what went wrong. It exposed the underlying friction that had been brewing beneath the surface of diplomatic pleasantries. The disagreements that had been kept behind closed doors were now out in the open for the world to see. The world watched as the carefully constructed facade of camaraderie crumbled, revealing a much more complex and troubling reality. The fallout from this meeting would have far-reaching consequences, not just for the US and Ukraine, but for the entire international community. The diplomatic crisis that ensued highlighted the fragility of international relations and the importance of clear communication and mutual understanding. As the dust settled, both nations were left to pick up the pieces and navigate the uncertain path ahead. The meeting between Trump and Zelenskyy carried a weighty agenda, reflecting the multifaceted relationship between the United States and Ukraine. The stakes were high, and both leaders knew that the outcomes of their discussions could have far-reaching implications for their respective countries. High on the list was the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine, where Russian-backed separatists continued to pose a threat to Ukrainian sovereignty. This conflict had been a source of instability in the region for years, and Zelenskyy was determined to find a path to peace and stability. Zelenskyy, eager to secure continued US support, sought assurances of military aid and a firm commitment to Ukraine's territorial integrity. He knew that without strong backing from the United States, Ukraine's position in the conflict would be significantly weakened. Beyond the immediate security concerns, the two leaders were also expected to finalize a lucrative economic agreement. This deal had the potential to transform Ukraine's economy and strengthen its ties with the United States. The deal, centered around Ukraine's vast reserves of rare earth minerals, held immense strategic and economic significance for both nations. These minerals are essential for a wide range of high-tech applications, from smartphones to military equipment. For the United States, it represented an opportunity to reduce dependence on China for these critical resources, while Ukraine stood to benefit from increased foreign investment and economic growth. The potential for job creation and technological advancement in Ukraine was immense. The meeting was also an opportunity for Zelenskyy to solidify his image on the world stage. As a relatively new leader, he was eager to demonstrate his ability to navigate complex geopolitical situations and secure advantageous partnerships for his country. As a relatively new leader, he was eager to demonstrate his ability to navigate complex geopolitical situations and secure advantageous partnerships for his country. This was a chance for him to show that he could stand toe-to-toe with world leaders and advocate effectively for Ukraine's interests. A successful meeting with Trump would have been a significant diplomatic victory, bolstering his standing both domestically and internationally. It would signal to the world that Ukraine was a country to be taken seriously, with a leader capable of forging strong alliances and driving economic growth. The outcomes of this meeting had the potential to shape the future of Ukraine for years to come, making it a pivotal moment in Zelenskyy's presidency. The meeting took a sharp turn when President Trump, in an uncharacteristic departure from diplomatic protocol, launched into a tirade against Zelenskyy.
You haven't shown any gratitude for the support we've given you. Why haven't you investigated my political rivals?
The accusations, vehemently denied by Zelenskyy, centered around unsubstantiated claims of Ukrainian interference in the 2020 US presidential election.
We have always upheld democratic values and the rule of law. US support is crucial in our fight against Russian aggression. Our soldiers have made countless sacrifices.
The exchange, witnessed by a small group of aides and advisors, sent shockwaves through the room. Seasoned diplomats and political operatives were stunned into silence as the two leaders engaged in a heated back and forth, their voices rising in anger and frustration. The meeting, already derailed by the unexpected confrontation, came to an abrupt end. The atmosphere was thick with tension, and the abruptness of the conclusion left everyone in the room stunned. The leaders had entered with high hopes, but the clash of interests and unexpected disagreements proved too much to overcome. A planned joint press conference intended to showcase the strength of the US-Ukraine partnership was hastily canceled, leaving journalists and analysts scrambling for answers. The room, once buzzing with anticipation, now stood empty, a stark reminder of the fragile nature of international diplomacy. Reporters who had prepared questions and expected significant announcements were left in the dark, speculating on the reasons behind the sudden change. The rare earth minerals deal, once considered a sure thing, was also left unsigned, a clear indication of the severity of the diplomatic fallout. This deal was not just another agreement, it was a cornerstone of economic and strategic importance for both nations. The failure to finalize it sent shockwaves through the business and political communities, highlighting the deep rift that had developed. The abrupt cancellation of these key events sent a clear message to the world. The relationship between the United States and Ukraine had been severely damaged. News outlets around the globe picked up the story, with analysts dissecting every detail and speculating on the long-term implications. Headlines screamed of a diplomatic disaster, and the world watched closely, wondering what the next steps would be for both nations. The optics were terrible, painting a picture of disunity and distrust at the highest levels of government. The images of leaders unable to come to an agreement, of officials looking wary and distrustful, only served to deepen the sense of crisis. It was a visual representation of the underlying issues that had led to this point, and it did not bode well for future negotiations. The cancellations also signaled a missed opportunity for both leaders. For Trump, it was a chance to tout a major economic victory and project an image of strength on the world stage. The deal would have been a significant achievement, bolstering his administration's foreign policy credentials and providing a much-needed boost to his political standing. For Trump, it was a chance to tout a major economic victory and project an image of strength on the world stage. The deal would have showcased his ability to negotiate and secure important agreements, reinforcing his image as a strong leader capable of advancing American interests. For Zelenskyy, it was a chance to secure vital support for his country and solidify his own political standing. The agreement would have provided much-needed resources and support for Ukraine, strengthening its position both economically and politically. The failure to secure this deal left Zelenskyy in a precarious position, facing increased pressure both domestically and internationally.
The international community is reacting strongly to the recent developments.
Zelenskyy's actions are not only reckless but also endanger the stability of the entire region.
We stand with Ukraine and condemn any threats to its sovereignty.
The situation has sparked a wave of concern and condemnation from leaders around the world. As the conflict continues to unfold, many are left wondering, is this a setback for Ukraine and a triumph for Russia? The stakes are higher than ever, and the world watches with bated breath.
The situation is dire, but we will not lose hope. Our resilience is our strength, and we will continue to fight for our sovereignty.
The uncertainty and apprehension in Ukraine are palpable. President Zelenskyy's words echo the determination of a nation under siege, yet the future remains uncertain. With the global dynamics shifting, questions arise about the balance of power. Is the world witnessing a new era of geopolitical realignment? Only time will tell. The world stands on edge as tensions escalate and alliances are tested. The coming days will be crucial in determining the course of history.